Hi, it's Chris from SoulSubla.com, and I have here Zack, and he's actually been with me the longest. Hey, Zack.
Hi.
So yeah, Zack, can you just tell me what you're doing in Korea and where you're originally from?
So I'm from Texas in the USA. I have been teaching at private academies, Hagwons, here for the last 3 years.
Okay, and why did you choose Sinchon out of all the places you could have possibly lived in?
Um, well, honestly, a big draw was your system was actually really good competitively. So, if I was to live in another area, I was looking at paying a very large key deposit that I probably would have had difficulty coming up with on my own.
Uh-huh.
I would lie if I said that wasn't a big part of it for me looking at Sinchon initially.
Okay.
But now, having lived here, I realized Sinchon was a really awesome place. They accommodate to most different styles of food, so they have almost every style of food like right down the street, which is really nice. Especially for me, where I like to eat vegetarian or vegan. So there's a vegan restaurant down the street, and those are so hard to find in Korea.
Oh yeah, I've never seen
Yeah,
that.
so that's really convenient. It's a really young place, which people might like or dislike, but for me, I liked it. It meant really 24-hour cafes. People are there's always an energy going on. But also them all being students and very young, that population in Korea are very open-minded, and you can notice that very much so. I don't feel uncomfortable at any time. I even have an arm tattoo or something like that. So it's if I'm walking around in a tank top, I don't worry about people's, giving me glares or anything like that, except for maybe the oddball ajumma or something every once in a while. But it's just it's a very young kind of happening area that is extremely accessible to every other part of the city. I mean, now I rarely take subway.
Oh
I
yeah.
take bus almost to anywhere in the city, which is super convenient.
Yeah. And can you just tell me about your experiences about living with other roommates in the apartment? You've lived with quite a few actually since you've been here for 2 full years.
Yeah, well, it's been great so far. I mean, the last two were the best. Just one by circumstance, one by me being able to choose, get him to live here, which is really cool. But it's, we have our own rooms. It's easy to kind of keep your own space, which is nice. But at the same time, I think it's always optimal when everyone can kind of get along well enough to kind of make it feel a little bit more of a homey vibe.
For sure.
So, this last group of guys were open to that, and it was great. I mean, this is the most homey that it ever really felt, But even before that, with previous roommates, even if they weren't as open-minded to a scenario like that, a situation like that, an environment like that, I've had zero issues with with any of the guys here. Sometimes they're different from you, but God, if you're going to a foreign country, I hope you're okay with differences,
For sure. Yeah, so I got one last question. So for someone that's just moving into Sinchon, do you recommend a favorite restaurant or a favorite cafe? Anything that you probably go to a lot, or any place that you really enjoyed spending time in?
Yeah, there's a lot of great food in Sinchon. So really, there's a lot to be found, and even things that I didn't find. Off the top of my head, the cafe I like the most is by Sogangdae. I do a lot of my work there. It's called Coffee Break. Best prices. Unfortunately, only stay open until midnight, but really, really cheap prices and a really nice environment. Really cool place. That's my favorite cafe. Favorite restaurant? There's a ton. Like I said, if you're vegan, there's a Loving Hut down by the church. Just Loving Hut, you'll be able to find that. That's an awesome vegan restaurant, although it's the worst in the chain. There's a lot of there's 4 of them, and I believe this is the worst one they have, which is unfortunate. And there's also a dubu place that's really good, a tofu place in Sinchon that I absolutely love. There's literally restaurants you could go on forever. And then there's Western food, Mexican, Dos Tacos. There's that burger bar that's really good as Western style food. Clubs, Barfly, which I don't really like Barfly, but that exists. And Mike's Cabin is like kind of the newer young bar slash dance place. Like, it's fun and lively. Like, you know, if you're into that scene, then it's a pretty cool spot. But yeah, I think that's about all the. There's a nice little place right in this little block that we live in. It's a kalguksu place, and SBS has seemed to given them some fame. They're 5 minutes of fame, but they make a really delicious dokmandukguk, so the dumpling, rice cake soup, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I would check that place out first. It's kalguksu.
All right, thanks, Zach, and I'm sorry to see you go, and hopefully one day you'll come back to Korea.
No problem. Take care, guys.